All right. I found this to be an interesting perspective because if there's anyone who is familiar with what it takes to garner respect from Caitlin Clark in a player coach relationship, it is Lisa Bluder, right? I mean, there is no better example. The Hawkeyes at Iowa go to back national championships with Bluder at the helm. She's now retired. Of course, Jan Jensen, the coach at Iowa now. Clark, the central figure in that. Clark breaking the NCAA scoring record under Bluder's watch, going into the WNBA with Bluder as, someone who was providing advice and helping to set that foundation. There's a real bond there, a real mutual respect there. You can see it in the way they interact. That was not something that was present with Clark and Christy Sides. It just wasn't. Now, I defended Sides at times because I felt like people piled on her a bit much, but clearly her and Clark were not completely simpatico. When you look at body language, when you see, Sides' comments about shot selection before the season even started, Sides basically apologizing to the Storm after Clark celebrated on their court, on the court a little bit. Sides saying, the monster was woken up, revealing the text message from the Olympics. Just the facial expressions from Clark when she was talking with Sides. The way that Clark spoke about Sides, even when she was, I guess, being complimentary, it just didn't feel from either side that it was real or that there was a depth to that relationship, right? Which has been the complete opposite already. You can just see it between Clark and Stephanie White. You can see the look on Clark's face when Stephanie White is in the picture, when Stephanie White was brought into the team, the way she celebrated the hire. You can see it in the footage, the two locked in the gym. And why is there that mutual respect? Well, Lisa Bluder elaborated on that a bit in sharing with CBS Sports. She did a Q&A. Jack Maloney is CBS Sports. And one of the questions that came up was about Stephanie White. And here was what Bluder had to say in regards to that. The question was, the Fever have now brought in Stephanie White as their new coach. How do you think Stephanie can help Caitlin take the next step? Well, I think Stephanie, as a pro coach, probably saw her more than anybody because she was also doing television. She had a lot of our games. So she knew Caitlin better than all the other coaches. And I think she respected Caitlin more than the other coaches who hadn't been her around as much. Caitlin always told me that she thought Coach White defended her better than anybody else in the pros. I know that Caitlin has great respect for Stephanie White, and I just think that knowing both of their personalities, they're going to mesh very well, or really well. Look, it's no secret that Clark and the Sun went head-to-head a lot last year. First game of the season, last game of the season. It was also in that time feature on Caitlin Clark that that Stephanie White had an 8-page, I believe, scouting report on how to stop Clark. And according to the author of that piece, Sean Gregory, Clark had asked Stephanie White for that to see it. So when you're a competitor like Caitlin Clark and you're a basketball genius like Caitlin Clark, and you see what the other team is doing to take away what you do best, to make life hard for you, there is automatically a level of respect. I mean, that's real recognized real, game recognized game, right? And then you go back to the roots of that relationship, and we've seen that. Like, you've seen Stephanie White talk about watching Caitlin Clark since she was young. You've seen Caitlin Clark talk about seeing Stephanie White at various games over the college years. We've heard Stephanie White discuss Caitlin Clark and bring up nothing but effusive praise. And it's already just a complete and total stark difference between the way the relationship between Clark and Sides seemed. So there you have it. I think, you see they're already working on, I'm sure, the weaknesses, if you will, in Clark's game, or the areas for improvement in Clark's game, right? Like you already see that happening. And Stephanie White has that scouting report. Clark now knows what that scouting report was. You don't think Clark is a maniac to get better? Of course she is. Bluder also had some kind words for Kate Martin too, and her other former players. And this was part of the Q&A as well. Caitlin obviously isn't the only former player you have in the WNBA. I'm curious if you've talked to Kate Martin at all about the expansion draft experience. Bluder said, and let's not forget about Megan Gustafson, who is still playing for the Aces. So she's not forgetting about any of her players. It shows you that she cares. With Kate, I'm very excited for her. She was really looking forward to this opportunity. She was really looking for this opportunity. The coach came from the Aces, and Kate had a good relationship with her when she was on the Aces. So I think in the back of her mind, she was hoping that she would be selected to go. She looks at this as a new opportunity to start again, and I know she is working really, really hard to make the most of this opportunity, and she'll also be playing in the Unrivaled League. So, I mean, it seems to me that she's basically saying Kate wanted to get away from the Aces and get an opportunity to flourish and thrive on her own, which I think you could see from anything Kate Martin has said since then. Everything essentially Kate Martin has said since then, that she was genuinely thrilled to be selected in the WNBA expansion draft by the Valkyries. But it's nice to see Lisa Bluder, having this care and, almost like maternal instincts in a sense over her player. I guess coach's instincts. I don't have to make it a mom thing because they're women player. You get the point. Just the way I would with anybody, anybody would with anybody that they've seen grow under them. And she saw that team grow and flourish under her tutelage. And now she's seen them go on to bigger and better things. She had Caitlin Clark's back after the time deal and the fallout there. And she seems convinced about the Fever's future with Stephanie White leading the charge. So we've now had Stephanie White say basically the same thing. We've had Caitlin Clark say basically the same thing. They're the direct participants. Their voices matter the most. But then you add in Lisa Bluder's perspective, which is an interesting one because not only does she have the relationship with Clark, but she's also a coach like White. And at this point, it seems there is absolutely no doubt that the White and Clark connection is going to work out. Or Clark's white privilege, as I've said, is going to help take the Fever to new heights. Couldn't resist, sorry.